Hi there everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chaos Roundup for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Now this week we actually only have one event to cover with the Heretic missions that came along with Hope, Lightning and Shadow's banner, so we don't actually have an awful lot to cover this particular week. However, I did want to take the opportunity to use this event to showcase a particular duo that works extremely well together and to throw in a third character that I'm sure people will, will recognise from previous streams and videos and things like that. So if that's something that you're interested in, then stay tuned and keep on watching. As always everybody, don't forget to check out all of the social media links in the description box below, including my Twitter, Twitch and Discord. I actually have a poll going on at the moment because I have a few extra ingots and a couple of extra books thanks to the Mayfair event, and I'm curious as to whether people think that I should potentially purple one of the characters I have available to me now, or whether I should save them for the future. I'm more inclined as thinking I'm going to save them for the future, but I'm curious as to what you guys think. So be sure to go into my community posts on YouTube or my Twitter and cast your votes on there and see what, I'd love to hear from you and see what you guys think. And of course, through every video, thanks to my Patreon channel, I will shout out one of my patrons at random to give my appreciation and my thanks to each and every one of those people that comes and supports the channel further. And this time around, it's going to be Mark. So thank you ever so much for your support. I appreciate it massively during this time of isolation and all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. And if you would like a bespoke title card made just for you, just like Mark has and all of my other patrons that you can see during the end of the video, then be sure to check out the link in the description box below for my Patreon channel. And of course, lastly, don't forget to check out all of the other content creators there are out there for Opera Omnia, because all of us appreciate your likes, subscribes and follows just as much as I do. So as you can see on the left here, we have Gilgamesh, Hope and Vayne taking on the Heretic Chaos mission for this week. And the synergy characters for this particular mission are Cyan, Waka for some strange reason, Lightning, Hope and Shadow. Now I've only decided to take one of these characters with me, despite the fact that I actually do happen to have Lightning and Shadow as well, primarily because I wanted to showcase the sheer level of power that you can get between Hope and Vayne. Now I added Gilgamesh in here because quite frankly Gilgamesh could have been anybody and this team composition would work equally as well. If you have synergy characters for this, as many people should do because the banner is amazing and lots of people should have pulled on it, then you will not find this chaos to be particularly difficult. The enemies are they're all fairly weak in comparison to a lot of chaos missions that we've had. Really, the first wave, you don't really have to worry about it at all. All it's going to do is afflict occasional debuffs, but by the time you get to the end of it, it won't have done all that much to you. The second wave can be a little irritating with the Lamia Queen because she can resurrect Ramza, who can then grant her HP regen, and the Garnet in this particular wave does like to spam HP attacks if she's not targeting everybody, so do be cautious of that. She likes to use brave HP attacks quite frequently, but she doesn't have all that much health, so you can take her out quite easily. And then the third wave with the twin robots, the only thing you really have to worry about in this particular fight is delay that they have. So honestly, you could fight fire with fire and bring your own delay team. I kind of did, just by having Vayne in my team, and Gilgamesh does actually have some delay as well, which, as I'll go into in a moment, came in really quite handy. But the charge up attack that they have, which is Iron Burst, is an AoE brave HP attack. So as long as you're not letting them both get this off frequently and you've got a healer to hand, then it shouldn't cause you too many problems either. Now I chose to bring Hope, Vayne and Gilgamesh, as I said earlier. Hope and Vayne together is utterly disgusting. The main reason for that is because whenever Hope grants a buff to somebody, he also extends their existing buffs by a turn, which is really powerful in conjunction with Vayne's Conqueror's power, which is what gives him the 3 extra turns, or the 2 extra turns ordinarily, that he would normally get after he gets to 3 stacks of it. Hope makes it so his 3 stacks last for a turn longer, so he actually gets 3 extra turns rather than 2. Now, you'll see while watching this particular fight, the number of times where I actually could have gone further with Hope, and I chose not to use him thinking, because it was a blind run, I hadn't done the run before. Oh, I better save this for later. And I really didn't need to. I could have just used Shell or Protect every single time Vayne got to 3 stacks of Conqueror's power, so that it was just the turn count would have been even lower than it already was. And that's the only reason why I didn't get max score on this particular mission. But not only that, but Vayne has attack down auras, and then Hope has defense ups through the roof with Shell and Protect. Gilgamesh actually has an attack down aura as well, so whenever an enemy did get to attack me, it really didn't do very much damage at all. Gilgamesh actually brought a lot of damage to the run as well, just by having splash damage, like very frequently through Wild Dance and through Hurricane. Hurricane, like, as long as he can get to 99,999 bravery through auras or his own buffs and stuff like that, it's going to hit that much damage. It's going to hit 100k and 50k to any other enemies. It's just fact. While he doesn't have very many hits in his kit, he hits pretty damn hard every time he does get an attack off. And then, like, you got Hope, Vayne, and Gilgamesh all providing these defensive auras, like, no, your attack's down and my defenses are up. Hope can heal with his EX, which goes off extremely frequently and 100% AoE damage. It's just magnificent. There's so much that you can do with these three party members. Honestly, you could make the team even better by changing Gilgamesh for a character that's more well known for being strong. So for example, if you really wanted to just make this an absolute walk in the park for yourself, change Gilgamesh for Leo. Leo, Vayne, and Hope will conquer pretty much any content that's available right now. The three of them together, like with the delay from Leo, which obviously I've changed for Gilgamesh here, which is less frequent, but equally he still does a lot of damage regardless. And then with Vayne re-breaking and Hope just being able to make sure that no one takes damage, and he can extend buffs like by spamming his abilities. Like the no turn delay on Shell, honestly, as long as Hope goes before Vayne, after Vayne has gained his stacks, you're going to get those free turns. It's not difficult to do. So honestly, if you have Hope and Vayne, just try them together. It's unbelievable. You could argue the same thing about like Echo and things like that for Vayne, because they extend buffs as well. But because Hope has that Pinello style, some turns I want to have an instant turn, some turns I don't, by picking between Shell and Protect. You don't even care about what the buffs are that they grant. You just care about the fact that you're like bravery batterying whilst not taking any turns up, preparing for an insane last result, or using a Retributive Blast just to do a consistent stream of damage. Hope is a support character that churns out pain like no other support character before him. He's really, really strong, and I cannot stress how much I've been looking forward to using Hope because of this. And I never even used his C65 ability, and as a matter of fact, I didn't really use C65s very much at all in this fight, except for right at the end. Primarily because I actually forgot them, to be honest. Like, I didn't need them at any point. Gilgamesh, I used his twice during the final wave, just so that I could make sure I got as much damage on the twin robots as I could. And then Vayne's I used right near the end because I was just like, okay, well, I know I'm going to summon my Aranea friend unit like near the end of this to close the fight out as quickly as possible. And therefore, when it got to the point where it's like, okay, now they're at a certain amount of health, now I know I'm going to summon Aranea here, I just literally go, okay, well, he's got 4 turns because he's got the buff from Hope. I'm going to just go pummel, 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 buff keep Save, buff keep, pummel, and then switch to Aranea. I laughed while I was on stream doing this run, because I'm like, how is he still going? He's got so many turns. And then they both unbroke because he'd taken so many turns. And then Aranea came in, did High Wind, and the rest is history. So while I say be careful of Iron Burst, I actually never saw it. So there is, a lot of ways that you can go about this particular event without really having to worry about any of the scary attacks that these enemies bring at all. Now, when it comes to alternative characters for this particular event, honestly, most runs that you see online will contain either Hope, Lightning, or Shadow, because they work so damn well and the banner is that good that most people will have pulled on this. However, there are characters that outside of this banner that you can use. I use for Gilgamesh, for God's sake. If you can use Gilgamesh, you can use anybody. X-Death would work to a certain extent because of his HP poisons and gravity-based attacks, but he's probably not the first character I would go for. Leo and Aranea, just for the same reasons as Vayne, just being able to just cheese things with delay. That is never not going to work. Honestly, if you have Lightning, this Chaos is a complete joke. You have no reason not to be able to clear this if you have a purple Lightning. She's just that strong for clearing content of this particular difficulty. She's got delays out of her backside. She's got re-breaks. She's so fast that she goes through things like butter. She hits really hard. There's nothing bad to say about Lightning. Honestly, a lot of content creators are going to be uploading a lot of videos to be doing with Lightning, like soloing content and things like that. You won't see those from me because there's so many other people doing them already, but honestly, there's a reason for it. She is that good for a reason. So if you have Lightning, there is no reason why you couldn't clear this with her. If you've got, like I said, Leo or Aranea, or you could change Hope for somebody like Penelo. If you've got a tank, you could bring them like Zac or Warrior of Light, but you shouldn't really need them. None of the enemies are particularly powerful, so as long as you've got high defenses, they're not going to cause you too much of a problem. The only thing I will say is you want to make sure you have a very solid damage output, particularly during the second wave, because you don't want Ramza to HP regen the Lamia Queen, and then you get rid of Ramza, and then the Lamia Queen resurrects the Ramza, and then you end up in that horrible loop. But again, they don't actually have all that much health, so you shouldn't have to worry too much. Like I said, Gilgamesh is a character that I brought along who happened to work really well with Hope and Vayne. I chose this team because it's actually the team I plan to take to Dimensions End tier 10, so I actually wanted to bring them for this particular reason. But honestly, there's a lot of characters that you could use for this. This isn't a particularly difficult chaos. So while we've only had one this week, at least it's not too difficult one to take on. So that's actually going to be it for this week. So like I said, we only had the one event this week, but next week we should be expecting Porum's Lost Chapter and Caius' arrival. So that'll give us a little bit more variety on the things that I can show to you next week. When it comes to next week as well, I'm actually going to experiment with a little something that I've been thinking about in my head. Now, a lot of people have said that I should change my videos back to being should you pull videos and things like that, because it's what people expected from me in the first place. And I've gone into my reasons to why I've changed that many times, but I would like to try next week, despite the fact that my content pretty much contains all of that already, separating it into separate videos for each event again, where I cover the event itself and whether I think you should pull, and then I'm going to change the title of the videos because I'm curious as to whether it actually affects the view count or anything like that. So let me know in the comments below what you think of that. Let me know who you took for this particular event. Let me know who you plan to take for next week's event. And as I said before, don't forget to check out all of the social media links in the description box below. And of course, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications for future videos on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.